All right, Algebra 1. This is section 5.2, doing notes today. So 5.2 is solving systems of linear equations, and this is what we were doing in 5.1. But in 5.1, we were doing it using graphing, and now we're going to be using the method called substitution. So take notes today. Put your name, date, period on your paper. Make sure you title it so we know. And you need to take all these notes to get credit. So we are going to solve systems by substitution. Now, we were solving systems of linear equations last time, and what we would do is we'd graph the two equations, and where they cross their intersection, that xy number was the solution. So that was solving by graphing. And it was the intersection of the graphs. It could be a little tedious. You had to do a really good job of your graph. What if the answer wasn't nice? I mean, all the ones I gave you were nice, but what if the answer was like a fraction? That'd be really hard to tell from graph. What if it's a really big number, like 100? Like you're really going to graph the graph that big to get the answer. So it's kind of a nice way to kind of visualize what you're doing, but in the end, it's not the greatest way to solve a system. So this will be one of the more common ways of solving systems, even in future math class. If you keep taking math, geometry, algebra 2, pre-calculus, calculus, we solve systems of equations with substitution. Probably the most common approach. So we're going to outline the steps. So the first step is to solve for one variable, and I'll walk through the first example with you guys. Specifically, and I'll tell you again what this means, we're looking for variable can be x or y, doesn't really matter, x or y. To make things easier, you would like the one with a coefficient of 1 or -1. I think 1 would be even better. Coefficient's the number in front of them, okay? And that just makes, you don't have to, but that just makes the work easier, less work, less fractions, less messy work. The second step is going to be substitute into the other equation. And the third step is going to be solve. So I'll show you what this means with an example. So this will be example 1. We're going to do 4 examples today. So example 1, I'm going to give you 2 equations. Y equals -2x minus 9 and 6x minus 5y equals -19. This is a system of linear equations. Okay, 2 equations, 2 unknowns. And so we want to pick the easiest x or y to get by itself for the first step. Less work, less fractions. These x's and y's don't have ones in front. They're going to be a mess. This x doesn't have a 1 in front. This one has a 1 in front, right? If there's no number, that's the same as a 1. And the other cool thing about it, so that's what I mean by coefficient of 1 or -1. Okay, the other thing that it's already solved for. So it says solve for one variable. This is already solved for, right? I mean, they've done some of the work for you, so let's take advantage of it. So we're going to plug this, substitute into the other equation. So whichever letter you got by itself in one equation, you're then going to put it into that letter in the other equation. That's called substitution. That's the whole name of this process. So we're going to rewrite it 6x minus 5. And I'd always put this in parentheses. I'm going to replace the y with negative 2x minus 9. Negative 2x minus 9. Everything else is going to be the same. So I'm just replacing the y. Now the cool thing about this is now we have we started with two equations, two unknowns. Now we have one equation, one unknown. So we can totally solve for x. We've been doing this for a long time, just solving for x. So now we're going to solve for x. Okay? One equation. We now have one equation with one variable. So it's not really a system anymore, right? Now we have to distribute this. I would distribute the negative with it. It'd be plus 10x, negative 5 times negative 2x. Negative 5 times negative 9 is positive 45. Okay, so we want to simplify this. We then want to combine like terms that are on the same side together, just combine them. And then we want to start getting x by itself. So we want to undo addition and subtraction first, reverse PEMDAS. Okay, this is going to be, they're both negative, so you're going to add them up. 9 plus 5 is 14, carry the 1, 64, it's negative. Then we're going to divide by 16, and 64 divided by 16 is 4. This is half of our answer. Our answer is x and y. We just got half of it. Sorry, you guys can't see some of those little notes I was writing. We have half of our answer. So what we need to do now is plug it back, the variable, when you got y by itself over here, which it was already done for you, you now could plug this back into there to get the y number. So in parentheses, I always like to plug in parentheses. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. 8 minus 9 is negative 1. That's the other half of our answer. Now we're going to write our answer as an ordered pair. X first, y second. Okay, so we're going to get x first, negative 4, y second. This is your answer in parentheses, x first, y second. Now we could, like we did before, check our answer by plugging it back into the original equations, both of them, and seeing if it made it true. So we could plug back into original equations to check our answer. Could do it, just like before. Okay, so those are the major steps. I would do things like this: circle things, draw arrows. I mean, I'm doing it to help you follow my work, but I do it just to kind of help myself follow the work. So that was example 1. Let's do another one. Negative x plus y equals 3. 3x plus y equals negative 1. Now remember, I'd like to get a letter by itself. Which one's the quickest, easiest, least messy? Something with a 1 in front or a negative 1. Positive 1 is better than negative 1. So I would either go for this y or this y. Either one. You could do this x also, but that's an extra step forward because that's a negative 1. I'm going to just get this y by itself. So I'm going to add x to both sides. You can't combine 3 and x together, not like terms, so I'm just going to put the x first and then plus 3. So I've picked a letter to get by itself, one variable, and got it by itself. And then we're going to plug it into the other equation where that letter shows up. We're going to replace it. We're going to substitute it in parentheses. I always like to put parentheses. Now we have one equation with one unknown, one variable, one letter. So to get rid of these parentheses, we can just drop them because it's just a plus in front. And we can combine these. That's 3x and x. Well, that's 1x. That's 4x's total. And then we can subtract 3 from both sides. So we're going to start to solve, get rid of addition and subtraction. Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. They're both negative. Add them up. Make a negative. To get rid of the 4 times, you have to divide by 4. and we get x equals -1. So you should be showing all this work. That's half your answer. To get the other half, I'm going to plug that back into this guy, because that one's nicely solved for y. So we're going to get y equals 2. So your whole answer, x first, y second, parentheses. You could check it if you want. All right, let's try a couple more. And if you want to see if you know how to do this, pause the video and try it before I show you how. If you really want to test yourself, and then you can watch me do it and see where you made mistakes, or if you get stuck, figure it out. But this is a great option right now to try it out. So here's our system, 2 equations with 2 variables. I'm trying to find both of them. We want to get x or y by itself. You got lots of options here. This is the only bad one right here. I wouldn't try and get that x by itself because it's going to make fractions. It would work. It's not wrong. It's just not a great choice. So just to change it up, I think I'm going to go ahead and get this x by itself to show you that you can get x by itself first. It doesn't have to be y. So do that. I'm going to subtract y from both sides. Can't combine these. So now I've got an x by itself. I'm going to plug into the other equation, put parentheses. Okay, so now that's the substitution step. Now we've gotten one equation with one variable. Now I want to simplify, get rid of parentheses, distribute, positive 3y plus 6. 3y and 1y is 4y plus 6. Okay, now we're going to start to get y by itself, solve for y, get rid of addition and subtraction first. Reverse order of operations, reverse PEMDAS. Okay, divide by 4. 0 divided by 4 is 0. So that's half our answer. This time we got y first. It doesn't matter. Just pick the one that's easier. Getting y by itself this time would have been just as easy too, but I just want to show you. Plug the 0 in. Negative 0 is just 0. So we're just going to get -2. Now, if you picked any other letter first and followed all the steps, the work would look a little different, but you should get the same answer in the very end, no matter what you start with. X first, y second. Okay, example 4, last one. Negative x plus y equals -4. 4x minus y equals 10. I think the best choice is this guy right here. I mean, this wouldn't be that bad. This wouldn't be that bad, but this is the best one. It has a 1 in front. It's positive. Definitely the least amount of work. That one would be bad. It would give you lots of fractions. Give you the same answer in the end. So I'm going to add x to both sides. I think this is by far the best choice. I like to circle the thing that's my target and then circle what I get. It's an important step. I'm going to plug it in now into the other equation. I like to draw a little arrow, show that. Put it in parentheses, just to be careful. It can make a difference a lot of times. Now, I'm going to start working on this. So I got to distribute this negative to get rid of those parentheses. Minus x plus 4. Minus is a positive. Okay, 4x minus 1x is 3x. Get rid of addition and subtraction first. Then get rid of multiplication and division. Divide both sides by 3 to get rid of the times 3. And we get x equals 2. Now I'm going to plug that back in up here. So y equals parentheses 2 minus 4. Those parentheses really aren't doing anything. You could rewrite it without them if you want. Y equals -2. That's the other half of your answer. Now is an ordered pair. X first, y second, in parentheses. You could check these if you want by plugging back into the original equations if you really want to check them. And that's it. So that's what we're doing today. You can kind of get a routine. So today's classwork is going to be page 242, number 1 through 7, all starting on page 242. We're going to do the monitoring progress. And they're at the bottoms of each page. If you use the Student Dynamic ebook, it's really cool because it has these little blue arrows. You can't be zoomed in to play them. If you click play, it shows you a little video showing you exactly how to do the problem step by step. So you can get all the monitoring progress problems done, even if you get stuck, just by clicking on those videos. So go ahead, try it out, get some practice, make sure you're getting good at this, and then we'll have an assignment, and then we'll have a quiz.